Welcome to the sacred city of Songadh in Gujarat, the land of the divine, where hymns fill the morning air. Here, a magnificent monolith of Bahubali stands, casting its gaze over spiritual seekers. It's a place where captivating tapestries of temples and their mystical ambience embellish the landscape. Songadh was the home to Gurudevshree Kanjiswami for almost 45 years, where he shared his profound teachings. In this episode, we take you through the life of Gurudevshree Kanjiswami, as seen through the eyes of devotees and followers of Jainism.
Namo Nui Savariyantanam, Namo Nui Savaridanam, Namo Nui Savayiriyam, Namo Nui Savjayanam, Namo Nui Savatrikalavati Savanam, Omkara Mindu Sanyukta Nityam Jayanti Yogina, Kamadam Okshadam Che Omkarai Namo Namo. Mangalam Bhagwan Mangalam Gopamurni Mangalam Kunkundari Ujendram Mangalam Namasamadhisara Swanu Bhutya Chakasti Chiksavai Bhavaya Sarvana Krivav Elucidates.
Jainism is an eternal philosophy that explains the laws of universe, the nature of soul, and the path to liberation. It is beginless and it is endless. The Jain gods, the tirthankaras, propagate this path, and it continues through munis and other enlightened souls.
Mangalam Bhagavan Viro, Mangalam Gautamo Gani, Mangalam Kunda Kundaryo, Jain Dharmostu Mangalam. That means Jainism is an eternal religion, and time to time reformers came and they rejuvenated the whole philosophy. Kunkun Acharya, they came 2000 years back. He wrote down 5 important scriptures: Samesar, Tonsasar, Niyamsar, Ashtapad, Panchastikay. So those are the immense amount of wealth of information that we have it today.
Songadh was a tiny little village on the map of Gujarat, which was unknown and obscure almost a century ago. In the year 1935, Pujya Gurudevshree Kanjiswami landed on this divine land and with his magical touch transformed it into Suvarnapuri, or the land of gold. Songadh holds a very special place in the hearts of all his followers, because for 45 years Gurudevshree has settled here. He has held discourses over here minimum twice in a day and has explained the nature of the soul.
Gurudevshree Sri Kanjiswami is one such enlightened soul in recent times. What Gurudevshree has given us cannot be expressed in words. His words are magical to remove all the misconception that we hold on to.
Aho upakara jinavarano kundano dvani divyano jina kund dvani apya aho te guru kanano. Actually, Gurudev Kanjiswami intensely propagated and gave the religious principles
through examples and logically some of the complex concepts of Jainism. And it was through that people began to understand in a simple way what does the Jain philosophy and what does our scriptures tell us and teach us.
Gurudevshree Kanjiswami's teachings and beliefs not only resonated with people here in India, but also travelled across the world, deeply touching the hearts of many.
I was a student of Jainism since I was about 20 years old, so more than 15 years now I've been studying Jainism. And I really got quite impressed with Kanjiswami's teachings because it was something very different and new that I hadn't come across previously. So whereas other parts of Jainism kind of have a lot of emphasis upon conduct, upon rituals, things like fasting, things like going to the temple and things like this, Kanjiswami really talks more only about Atma, about your soul.
The cycle of miseries of the soul is so strange that he gets attached to whatever environment he is born in. Like he believes that my body, this family member, the money, the everything is mine. This is known as prapta paryayama tanmaita. This is the root cause of all our pride, anxiety, anger, and all the flows we can imagine.
Some of these things that he conveyed, which I was quite inspired and influenced by, was that every substance is completely independent. No substance can influence any other substance. So this was a wonderful principle that I learned through Gurudev's teachings.
We really felt that there was a large gap in the academic literature when it came to mapping out Jain studies and Jainism as a whole. Kanjiswami really represents a large gap in that literature. So a lot has been done on Shvetamba, lineages and all, but Kanjiswami's representation really wasn't there. I looked for information about him, and beyond the kind of cursory, brief descriptions, there really wasn't much there.
There was a disconnect between the academician and the practitioner, and where we established the bridge between those two entities, and now we are working with those by academicians in USA and in India and in London that we want to propagate Gurudev's Tattva Gyan.
So I decided that we should do this in-depth PhD thesis to address that gap in the literature, and hopefully it makes a contribution to the kind of study of Jainism, and hopefully we can kind of spread more awareness basically about his influence, his teachings, and the kind of lasting legacy he still has on the kind of global diaspora as well.
Kanjiswami has many followers in the Jain diaspora, who typically identify themselves simply as Digambara Jains, more popularly known as Mumukshu, the ones who seek moksha. Today, Songadh stands as a major center in India, holding utmost importance for devotees of Jainism and for those seeking spiritual guidance. Kanjiswami was born in Umrala, a small village in the Kathiawar region of Gujarat in 1890. Although an able pupil in school, he always had an intuition that the worldly teachings were not something that he was looking out for. He delved into the ancient Digambara texts, and with his experiential wisdom, he elucidated profound truths to the masses who were previously unaware of the true essence of Jainism.
Pujya Gurudevshree Kanjiswami College આજે તો લગભગ ઘણા ખરા સૌરાષ્ટ્ર ગુજરાત નહીં ભારત નહીં પણ વિદેશમાં પણ એમને લોકો જાણતા થયા છે. તો એમના જીવન વિશે એક જાણવાની જિજ્ઞાસા લોકોને હોય એ સ્વાભાવિક છે. When he was a child, he was born and up to age of 13, he was in Umrala. From childhood only, he said, I want to have an eternal happiness, a pure religious mind उनका था, इसलिए એનાથી એમને ધર્મની એક જિજ્ઞાસા રહે એના માટે એમણે નાનપણથી સત્યની શોધ શરૂ કરવાનો માટે 24 વર્ષની ઉંમરે દીક્ષા લીધેલી. 13 વર્ષની પોતે અહીંયા રહ્યા, એના પછી 9 વર્ષ પાલેજ રહ્યા અને 1.5 વર્ષ અભ્યાસ કર્યો. એ રીતે 24 વર્ષની ઉંમરે રિયલ હેપીનેસની સર્ચ કરવા માટે એમણે દીક્ષા લીધી.
At the age of 24, he took vows of celibacy and was initiated as a Jain monk of another sect. A person of great intellect and a compelling orator, his qualities of simplicity, modesty, humility and profound reverence for true religion shone through in his sermons and conduct. Followers flocked from far and wide to listen to his discourses, earning him the title of the Kohinoor of Kathiawad.
He was the one who was so particular and perfect in his conduct. All through his life, he was celibate, a brahmachari. He never even thought of harming a smallest creature. Like if somebody stepped on the grass coming to him, his heart would, like, oh no, isme jeev hai. You should not do this. So he was that particular. He would say even worshipping God does not lead to moksha. Only self-realization leads to moksha.
All you need to do is to understand about the nature of your own soul, and you don't need any intermediaries to do that even. You just only need your own kind of purusharth, so your own self-effort through swadhyaya, through your own self-study. So this was something quite unique that I hadn't come across before.
Kanji Swami was always on a quest for eternal bliss. He travelled to many places and searched for a quiet, secluded place as he did not desire social upheaval. During his exploration for a suitable place, he reached Songadh.
He came to the railway station of Songadh. અને ત્યારે એક દામણી હીરાચંદભાઈ એમને રિક્વેસ્ટ વિનંતી કરવા આવ્યા કે મહારાજ મારું ઘર એક એમ્પ્ટી હમણાં થયેલું છે જેને મેં રેન્ટેડ કર્યું હતું એ અત્યારના ગયા છે અને વી આર નોટ યુઝિંગ ઇટ અને બિલ્ડિંગનું નામ ત્યારે હતું સ્ટાર ઓફ ઇન્ડિયા. તો ગુરુદેવ લેટ અસ સી વિલ ગો ટુ ધ સોનગઢ એન્ડ વિલ સી ઇઝ એ પ્રોપર ઓર નોટ એન્ડ ઇટ વોઝ સો પીસફુલ એરિયા. સો હી ડિસાઇડેડ લેટ અસ સી. So 2 days he stayed in Songadh's village and he sent his believer followers to see that this is proper place or not. So where I am standing here is same place. Then he find it's very okay. So he decided let us stay here.
Gurudevshree was in the small hut known as Star of India, and as and when his popularity grew, all the devotees at that time realized that now Pujya Gurudevshree will have to relocate to some better place. So with a very, devotion and bhakti bhav, they all created the Swadhyaya Mandir.
The first structure constructed in Songadh was the Swadhyaya Mandir in the year 1938.
પછી તો લોકો વિચારતા થયા કે કાંજી સ્વામી માટે ગુરુદેવશ્રી માટે એક રેસિડેન્સનું અને એક લેક્ચરર હોલ આપણે કોઈ એક ક્રિએટ કરવું પડશે, બિલ્ડ કરવું પડશે અને એના માટે વિચાર કરતા જે અત્યારના સ્વાધ્યાય મંદિર છે એ ત્યાં બંધાણું હતું અને એ અત્યારના તમે કહીએ તો 95 વર્ષ પહેલાં એ બિલ્ડિંગ બંધાણું. એમના એક 4 કોર્નરમાં 4 રૂમ્સ છે, એમાં વન ઓફ ધ રૂમમાં પોતે પોતાનું રેસિડેન્સ બનાવ્યું અને અંદરમાં એક 50x25 ફીટનો એરિયાના એ એમનું લેક્ચર હોલ બન્યો હતો.
Later, his followers felt the need for a Digambar Jain temple, which was constructed in the year 1941. A year later, Jainendra Dharma Sabha was built.
એક સમવસરણ મંદિર કે જૈન ધર્મના જે હાયેસ્ટ ધ પ્રીચર હોય દેટ ઇઝ કોલ્ડ ધ તીર્થાંકર અને એમનું જે ઉપદેશ દેવાનું એક પ્લેસ હોય ઓડિટોરિયમ જેવી રીતે કહીએ કે જેમાં ઓડિયન્સ હોય અને જ્યાં લેક્ચર દેવા ઇઝ કોલ્ડ ધ સમવસરણ અને એમાં ઈચ એન્ડ એવરી વન ઇઝ બીન એલાઉડ. તો એવું સમવસરણ બન્યું.
In subsequent years, the Panch Parmagam Mandir and Nandishwar Mandir were constructed. giving shape to the Songadh complex as it stands today.
The Panch Parmagam Mandir, which is a unique temple that has the golden words of Acharya Kundkund Dev from the Panch Parmagam that have been engraved on all the walls of the temples. So that Parmagam Mandir has, kind of immortalized Kundkund Acharya Dev's teaching. So that centuries and centuries later also, people will continue to get the essence of the soul and the path of liberation. After that, the last temple that was constructed here was Nandeshwar Dweep and Panchmeru Mandir.
એકવીસ વર્ષ 4 મહિના તેમને ત્યાં રહ્યા. એમાં એમની જ્યારે 32 વર્ષની ઉંમર હતી ત્યારે એક સમયસાર નામનું શાસ્ત્ર દામનગરમાં એમને મળ્યું. એમને જે અંદરમાં ઇન્ક્વિઝિટી હતી, ક્વેશ્ચન હતા, એનું બધું સોલ્યુશન એમને એ શાસ્ત્રમાંથી એમને મળ્યું અને એમને થયું કે ના, જેની હું શોધમાં છું તે આ જ છે.
There was a lot of, I can say opposition to his principles, to his teaching, and across, there were articles being written about him that were negative and all. And he used to say, "A bada bhulela Bhagwan che," which means that they are gods, but they have forgotten themselves. Such was his compassionate and equanimous nature, and his life is a living inspiration for people like us who have never seen him.
Pujya Gurudev would always say that each living being is a pure soul, and one has to recognize it, one has to know it, and one has to experience it. And that is the path to liberation.
So he had this perfect balance of what your inner vision should be. Like, inner vision has to be fixated in the soul. The belief has to be like, I am the pure soul and I am not doing all the external activities. And how your behavior should also be, which is a perfect balance. In Jains, there are 2 branches, Dravyani Yoga and Charanani Yoga. Dravyani Yoga talks about the nature of the soul. That's what Gurudev was. And Charanani Yoga used to talk about your activities of mind, body and speech. And he was perfect in both. His food was very simple. He hardly had any possessions. And people used to literally throng at his feet. But he had no pride, no ownership of anything.
Pujya Gurudev has always emphasized for the mumukshus that they must daily do swadhyay, which is reading of the scriptures, and listen to what is stated in the scriptures which are authentic. Through that, they will get to understand the meaning of life, they will get to understand the attributes of the substances. Hence, Gurudev even today is very relevant because each one finds something useful, something meaningful in this daily practice of doing the swadhyay.
In Songadh, Gurudev Kanjiswami continued his swadhyay and lectured regularly for 45 years. These lectures were primarily focused on the nature of the soul and how to experience the soul. Gurudev Kanjiswami's lectures, delivered in his own voice, were fortunately recorded by his devotees. Today, there are almost 10,000 hours of recording available online. They are played daily in several temples, providing soul seekers with profound truths from Jain scriptures. Gurudev's beliefs and teachings inspire people and students even today.
I want to share you one fact about Pujya Gurudevshree, that he only studied till 6th standard academically in his school. But even big philosophers, big persons who were famous for their fields like scientists and judges, doctors, etc. came to Gurudevshree for knowing their preachings and teachings.
હું પરમાત્મા છું એમ નક્કી કર, હું પરમાત્મા છું એમ નિર્ણય કર, હું પરમાત્મા છું એવો અનુભવ કર.
My favorite thing about Gurudevshree is his teaching about pure soul, Bhagwan Atma. The thing I like most about Gurudevshree is there is not even a single pravachan of him in which he had not talked about Bhagwan Atma.
The best thing I like from Pujya Gurudevshree is his simplicity. He had no ego or pride for anyone, even after getting honors from people like Mahatma Gandhi and Lal Bahadur Shastri.
Pujya Gurudevshree is my idol because
only he said that we are Bhagwan Atma, we are God. We only need to know our real identity. All the prophets of Gurudevshree told us about two things. First is Shubha, means good. Second thing is Dharma. If we understand about difference between these two things, so we can achieve real happiness.
We have only heard about him and heard his lectures, but still it inspires us every single day to walk on the path of righteousness. He does not allow us to falter and, let these feelings of greed or mayachari arise within us, because looking at his simple living, we are also inspired that no, if I want to live a life, I want to live like Gurudevshree. That is what he was for us.
In Songadh, the journey of self-discovery persists. In the next episode, we explore the mystical traditions and the celebrated Bahubali monolith statue, alongside the Jain Panchkalyanak Pratishtha.